Am I always this naked, you may ask? Well, of course not. But I do prefer to tell the naked truth. You see, I like it juicy, raw, and uncensored. The truth, that is. Hey, hey, hey! So, do you like this shirt? So, this shirt is our sponsor, Sassy Straight Guy. I'll post the description in the video. So, remember to go on the link and click and see all the apparel. So, this one is what does this one says? This one says, I need my space. It doesn't say I need Facebook, it says I need my space. So, if you need my space, check out the sponsor. So today's topic is very touchy, but as we know, we're here doing touchy. We're being touchy and we're being raw and we're doing the videos uncut and uncensored, all of this good stuff. So I want to talk today about suicide. Yeah. So this might be quick or may not be quick, who knows? So I want to talk about suicide because for me personally, I don't think it's a touchy subject. However, I understand it could be touchy for other people. So one day I was driving across the Washington Bridge in New York City. And a lot of you, if you either know Washington Bridge in New York City or if you live here, you know the bridge is an amazing bridge. It has beautiful view and it's long and it's a great bridge. It's very high as well. So I remember going to that bridge a long time ago, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago with a friend, and there wasn't a net. I guess now they're like suicide net or life saving nets they put on there, which I think is really ugly for the view. But I do understand why they put them there. And so when I saw that, I was pretty offended. Not only because it's an ugly sight, but it was offensive because I was like, wait a minute. So we're living in this world. We're not in charge of our own selves. Like we don't even own our own bodies. Like someone tells you how to live while you're living. And then if you disagree with that, you want to die, someone also is telling you that you're not allowed to die. Not on their watch. So I was very offended by that. And you might be thinking, oh my God, that's so twisted. Like, how could you think that? Okay, I do understand where you're coming from. And I do also know that my thought process is very out of the box. And it's like, and if you can relate, please let me know your thought process. And if you cannot relate, I also understand, let me know your thought process. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And so, yeah, so what I think about suicide is when I was probably 16 or so, I grew up Jehovah's Witness and I used to live in my parents' house, of course. And I had suicide thoughts because, in my perspective of living in my parents' house, in my history, personal history, I didn't like living there because I was very abused by my parents, especially my mother. And so I've always wanted to die, but I didn't know what death was or how to die. So I often would ask when I pray. It's funny, when I pray, people ask God for things in their lives. I've I would say like 9 out of 10 times when I prayed to disappear. Not only just to die and just die and then they find my body, but to disappear. Like they come home one day and I wasn't there. So basically that's death. And so when it didn't happen, I did my best to commit suicide 3 times. And each time I did not succeed. And I didn't even get sick from the pills and stuff that I found around. Maybe I was like very amateur at it. So I didn't try the big bang stuff. But I didn't know. I didn't. I wasn't an adult until I was 25. Let's just say that. So at 16, I was like a baby mind. And so, but if, oh, actually, when I tried to commit suicide and it didn't happen, I I was like, what else do I do? So I was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna run away. So around 18, 19, I was in college or early 17, because I graduated high school, I think, when I was 17, and then I went to college that summer, August, something like that. Can't really recall age, by the way, because or timeline that great because I grew up Jehovah's Witness, and if you know anything about Jehovah's Witness, we do not celebrate birthdays. I'm saying we. I'm not part of them anymore, but that's my history. They don't celebrate birthdays. Until this day, I don't do not celebrate birthday, and I only know my age because I go to the hospital and they always ask for your age, so that's the reason I know my age. And so moving on, I when I was in school, I went to the guidance counselor, and I was asking them. Hold on, let me see here. I don't even remember exactly how it went, but I think I packed up my bag a lot, and then they noticed that I my bag was like packed. And the guidance counselor, we were cool together. She was awesome. And then I think there was a he and a she as well. I can't really remember. That was 20 years ago, y'all. Okay, so yeah, don't hold me on facts. And so trying to go in memory here. And so, oh, if we had that TV show, what TV show was that? Black Mirror. Remember Black Mirror when they connect your thing to your memory and they can do that movie thing and they can see it clearly? That would be awesome. That would be great if they could do that with dreams as well. I would love to record my dreams. And so, by the way, today I didn't wake up early. I woke up at 8, but then waking up disrupt a dream I had, and I was like, hell no. So I kept sleeping until like 10:30 because I had an interview in the morning, like a podcast interview in the morning at 11. So I had to make sure I wake up by 11 because the dream was so cool. But anyway, oh my god, good tangent. And so I told the guidance counselor, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna run away. And I tried suicide, that didn't work. So I'm just gonna run away and I didn't know what to do. And so I'm just gonna try, run away. And then she said two things. She was like, okay, don't try to kill yourself because remember, if you kill yourself, then these people are gonna live happily ever after and it's just gonna forget about you. Or even if they don't forget about you, they're gonna think you are this bad person that you kill yourself because how it is, people tend to think you're a bad person, or they go like, how could you leave us, da 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 da, and things like that. And she said, if you run away, you're gonna be homeless and your life gonna be so much harder. Then you're gonna actually maybe gonna try to kill yourself because it's gonna be harder than living in your parents' house. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, you so thinking brain and everything. And so she was like, how about you? Because I was like working also part time at a pharmacy. If you guys from Boston, remember Osco Pharmacy? So I used to work at Osco Pharmacy, and so it was a great job. I liked it. And yeah, and so she when she told me that she was like, save your money and move out. And I was just like, I cannot save money because my parents, well, my mother, she takes all the money and holds it. And she was like, that's fine. Give it 6 months to a year, work, and then when you're ready, ask her for your money, but don't say you're moving out and things like that. Okay, so I did that. So I moved out, and of course, throughout the years, I didn't have suicide thoughts anymore. And then later on, I've had suicide thoughts when bad things happen in the life, or some stress, or some minor depression, or thinking like, oh my God, I can't deal with this, and da 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 da. And so, but the last time I had a suicide thought that was based on being sad was I think 2012, 2011. No, I think it was 2011, definitely. Maybe, yeah. When I had um when I had a boyfriend and his name was Mickey Mouse. His name was Mickey Mouse. I call him Mikey. That's not his legit name, but that's a nickname, so I can say it. So his name was Mikey, and then I was just talking. I was like, how I cannot find work. I have all these. I apply for work, and I'm trying, and I do my best, and no one wants to lend me a job. And if they want to give me a job, they want to give me like jobs that I don't want to do, like things that I'm not worth. And I'm a big boy. I want a big boy job, you whatever. And so when I talk about my suicide thoughts, and he made me feel like shit, like he wasn't supportive. And so that's the last time I actually shared that with anybody that was close to me. And I was just like, you know what, that's true. Let me just like pull my bootstrap string, whatever that that quote is, bootstrap, whatever. Bootcut jeans, juicy bottoms, apple bottoms. And so I was just like, you know what, instead of feeling bad about myself and want to commit suicide, let me just get my shit together and do my best. So living in New York City for 10 years, I'm so grateful that I live below the poverty line and I still live in a palace because I made it work. And obviously because of how I do things, obviously I can survive. And those suicide thoughts, they are mostly not only temporarily, they're a lot of times they're minimal. And I think what people are searching for, they're searching for an answer to their question or a solution and not to end it. So later on, when I became Zen around 2015, suicide, I don't think of suicide thoughts, but I think of death thoughts, as in like, but those times were positive. Since then, I've been having positive thoughts. I was like, you know, if I died today or tomorrow, like I would have fantasy death things. And if you can relate, please leave a comment or share the video and let us know what you think. And I would often, because like I like the Egyptian tombs, so I was like, this space right here is like my paradise, and I love being here. And when everyone was like in quarantine for 2020 and everyone's going crazy, I was like, look at this. I'm living in my Victorian dream home. I love being here. So if I die, I'll die very peacefully. So I often have fantasies of like if I die, how I just in my bed and I'm have a beautiful death because I am done with life, not because I'm having a bad time, but because I'm so content and happy and love life. I'm like, cool, whatever. And I have a different relationship with death because growing up in Haiti, like in my early years, when coup d'etat happened around in the early 90s with Ice-T, if you're Haitian or if you know Haitian history, you can Google that and find out all these juicy things. So I've used to see dead people on the street, decapitated, burnt with uh, tires, or people with bleeding. And there's something called Zenglendo. I remember people going to home and killing people and robbing them. And so I grew up basically with death and I've seen it all. And it's not that I'm insensitive or that I'm making used to my brain or whatever. And I think to each their own, and everyone has different levels. So I think at some point I've wanted to be a coroner, not exactly a coroner, but someone who does the investigation with the death places, like going to a home and investigate and dead and how long they died and things like that. I love these things, and I have a different relationship with death because I feel like only our bodies die. I don't even want to say I believe, I know. Only because I feel it. Only our body dies and our spirit moves on, because as we live, we know there is this thing there and we cannot really explain what it is, but it's there. So anyway, moving on. So that's what I think about death sometimes. Just like it would be nice to just like, you know? Anyway, so I don't think about offing myself anymore, and I haven't tried that for 20 years, but throughout the years I thought of it when negative things happen in my life. And so, but I haven't thought of suicide thoughts and I don't take them seriously. And I do, and you know, the cliche gets better. Yes, it does get better. But this is where I'm not cool with suicide. Like, I'm not cool with when someone wants to commit suicide and people wants to stop them. That's where I'm not cool with that. I'll tell you why. So let's say if someone wants to commit suicide and you're going to give them cliche speeches about it gets better. Think about your family and friends. Think about all the things you could do. Da da da. Okay, yes, that's cool, but get to the like meat of it. Why do they think about suicide? Why do they want to kill themselves? Get to the trauma, get to the meat of the decision, and get to the meat of uh, the hurt. Okay, fine, you can get them therapy. It's gonna take weeks and months. Like most people, I feel, even in my case, when I wanted to commit suicide, I was just like, I might be homeless. Because thoughts of suicide is not seeing the 2020 hindsight. It's not seeing in the future how you can do better or solve your problem. You want your problem to be solved by some magical being, but then you feel powerless, etc., etc. So people want their shit to be solved, okay? So next time someone wanna tell you they're confining you, they wanna commit suicide, or if you, yeah, ask them why, and ask them things like, what can I do to help you? What can I do to maybe find someone else to help you? Are you looking for a job? Are things at home bad? Do you have some disease and you feel like you cannot live anymore? Is this some mental illness or is this some mental stress? Like, how can I fix this, or how can I help you fix this? Instead of like doing cliche speeches. Like, I like the Trevor Project. I did do some, what's that thing called, volunteering, when I used to go to this club, not club, but this place called Bagley, and I do like that, and I totally understand, and I do totally understand suicide prevention, and those suicide prevention probably have prevented a lot of death. However, I feel like, then what comes after that? Because once a suicide, always a suicide. Once you have that thought, you often will have that thought again. So how can you prevent someone not only have that thought, because like if you get to the meat of it, they're not gonna have that thought anymore. I'm grateful that I'm someone who does a lot of self help, and I help myself and things like that. And now I know now 100%, like anything that happens to me is I have responsibility in it if I want to join or not. And I have responsibility in going above and beyond to do my best to get out of the situation. And I'm so thankful and grateful that a lot of situation in my life has not been crazy, like for a lot of people being homeless, kicked out, or beaten up, or going to prison and all this stuff. And I understand those are extreme for a lot of the population probably. And I'm grateful those things don't happen to me. And things that happen to me are like everyday okay stuff. And so I'm so grateful for that. And I don't need to have suicide thoughts about that. But I feel like we need to do better when it comes to suicide. We need to not tell people to live for their friends and family and lovers, because I understand why we say that, but people need to live for themselves. People should not be going around living for other people while they living in misery and depression and mental illness and shit, or they cannot get a job, or they cannot do what they need to do because they're living for somebody else. I think that's like some twisted, crazy stuff we tell people, and I'm not I'm not cool with it. Another thing, I am, how I call it, uh I'm not, what's that, how can I phrase this? I'm not for most suicide preventions. Why? Because I feel like it's people's right to live in this earth when they choose to. I feel that it seems like we did not choose to be in this world. Although a lot of people in the spiritual realm would say, yes, we did choose. Okay, fine, we're not talking about that today. But let's say if we did not choose. At least we know we chose, we can choose to leave this world in our own accord. So who are you to try to talk me out of it? Who are you to, and I'm grateful for it because I can work. But like, if you get what I'm getting at, or putting people in, not jail but in a hospital for prevention and cuffing them, like, you're gonna kidnap somebody because they want to kill themselves, but then once they say, okay, I'm not gonna kill myself anymore, and you let them go without fixing their problems, or even give them the tools or helping them to fix the problems, you think they're not gonna just go do it again or try to do it again? Like, this is what I'm getting at, people. Like, we need to be there for each other, help someone to fix a problem, or fix it for them, or teach them how to. because once you have that thought of suicide, you often will have it again and you might succeed later on. If I succeeded, you probably would never see me here. And if I did not do a self-help to know what I just told you, how to fix my own problems and get the help that I needed, you wouldn't see me here today as well. So I'm advocating for, yeah, helping each other, but at the same time, personally, I'm not gonna do some like protests and go to the state house and do all this stuff. But it's just my own opinion. Allow people to to have the right to kill themselves, because as human beings we have that right. And if you really want to help, if you really want to help, yeah, talking to someone and give them that pep talk is cute, but it's not helping most people. So this is my message today, and I've wanted to talk about that. And I know it's a touchy subject, and I couldn't really speak to anybody about it, so I'm gonna speak to the world about it. And I have no longer have shame about that topic, and no longer feel guilty for my feelings and thoughts, and no longer judge myself about it, and allow other people to judge me because I feel differently about death and suicide. And this is how I feel and what I think, and I'm sticking to it. Let us know in the comment below how you feel.